What is up, YouTube? It's boy Millzy. Back hometown coming in there. And we're back for another episode of Hometown Opens, the show where I open some product for you. Murders at Karlov Manor is out this week, and normally on I'm looking forward to, I order a set box or something like that, maybe some decks. This time around at Karlov Manor didn't have as much for the decks I play and all that as normal sets, so I'm doing just the bundle this time around, as well as I will be ordering a Ravnica Clue edition as well to open for the channel, so we could talk about that. But let's get into our Murders at Karlov Manor bundle. I think the big thing this time around that we need to mention is that we're going up to, this is our first set, Premier Play Boosters. Set boosters are gone, draft boosters are gone, and we have play boosters now. There's a lot of opinions about play boosters out there, and personally, I think at minimum they're a combination of kind of what we got out of draft and what we got out of set. I think that some people are going to be very happy with it. Some people aren't going to be very happy with it, and at the end of the day, there's only so much we can do. If you don't like the product, I guess don't buy it. I know it's a terrible thing to say, but it's the truth. I still like play boosters, or the concept of them at least, having a chance to get multiple rares. And I do appreciate that the list and the special guests are coming to Arena, which I think is really cool. We see Krenko, Massacre Girl. I'm not sure who that is. That is it, Guy, Judith, and Aurelia on the bundle box. I like it. I like the bundle boxes. Normally it's what I keep my stuff in, but 9 play boosters up from 8 set boosters in the normal bundles are pretty spin down there. I love collecting the spin downs. They're what I use when I go to play Commander and things like that. Here's our bundle promo, Axebane Ferrex. Man, if I still had my original Goreclaw deck, this card would be one that I would be coveting forward. 4 mana, 4/4 Death Touch, Haste, and Ward. Collect evidence for. Here we have a copy of each of the full art basics in foil, and then the regular basics in foil. I like that they included a copy of the full art basics instead of making them only, your chance to get them in the regular boosters. I think that will make some players more happy than, just getting all of the regular lands, as some people like to collect. And then here we get another copy of all of them in the non-foil and some non-foil lands. But all right, let's get into our 9 play boosters. Lots of fun stuff this time around. I'll try to go through the play boosters and see if we can see how these are set up. Okay, so these are English printed, which is cool. So we'll be able to go through all the slots and kind of take advantage of the fun. First off, we're going to have 6 commons. Again, even uncommons and uncommons, I absolutely love the art. I think the art's beautiful, and it's something I still like to look at, even if the cards aren't completely playable. Slot 7 is our chance to get a list card or a common, and we have the common here in the magnifying frame. I like this frame a lot. I think it's cool, and there's some cool art in it. We got a couple uncommons, not on my watch. Expose the Culprit. This card looks kind of cool for all those disguised and face down decks if you're using them. And then hey, we got meddling use in that dossier frame there with the writing. Here we've got I guess one more uncommon. I thought that was where we got to our rare, but I guess I was one off. Case of the Uneaten Feast. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, we gain a life. If you gain 5 more life this turn, we get to solve it. And as soon as you solve it, we have the ability to use the final one. Sacrifice this case creature cards in the graveyard. Get whenever you cast this card from you may cast this card from your graveyard until end turn. I like this. This is an interesting enchantment. Of course, for decks that gain a lot of life, this is going to allow you to get things back out of your graveyard, and I think it will be well played in certain areas. We see Conspiracy Unraveler. This is a foil wild card of any kind. I think we didn't get the rare we were supposed to in that slot. I also didn't see a basic land, so maybe this play booster image I'm looking at is wrong. But Conspiracy Unraveler there, another rare. That is a mythic. So we got a rare mythic there. Conspiracy Unraveler, 7 mana, 6/6. We may collect evidence 10 rather than pay the cost of spells you control. there's our basic forest, and then Fanatical Strength. Now, the art cards are no longer one in a pack like they were in the set boosters, which is a bummer for somebody like me who likes to collect the art cards, but that's okay. Art cards tend to be pretty cheap, so that's a-okay with me. But again, the list has been reined in now with the play boosters because, of course, all the list cards are going on Arena as well. So hopefully that means that when you hit a list card, it's something going to be a little bit better. Fanatical Strength there, that one's based off of. 10th Street Gossip. So we do each. Hard-hitting question. Ooh, our first borderless rare meticulous archive. Here's the new land cycle, dual type, and come in Surveil 1. I think for some decks, for 2-color decks, you might just add these in as a dual land that you have access to. 3-color decks could choose to play these over the temples, mainly because they are searchable and they do Surveil 1, which is at least more helpful in graveyard decks than scrying is. So I could see them see some play. It just depends on what kind of deck you're playing. Doppelgang is a card that looks like a ton of fun. For each of X target permanents, create X tokens that are copies of that permanent. Of course, it's in Simic colors, so anybody who's playing Civic can have a ton of fun with this card, but I like the look of that one. Reverse Hellion, Basic Forest, and we see a Merfolk token. Yeah, I like seeing a new dual land cycle, especially one with dual typings. That's going to help, you know, if you have a deck that's using a lot of those 3 visits, Farseek, Nature's Lore type of cards, well, now you're going to have more forests or non-forests you can get, if that's something interesting. Well, there's the card that I hoped would get printed, and it did. We have Murder in the Spyglass frame. That's a pretty looking card. Greenbelt Radical Disguise is a new mechanic that certainly looks a lot like Morph and Megamorph. If you have a Kadena deck or you're somebody who plays a Morph or Megamorph deck, there's a lot of fun stuff in the new set to be had for you. Sanctuary Wall, new wall. Anytime I see a new wall, as someone who's played and messed around with the deck in the past, my immediate thought is, does it go in Arcades? Is it good enough? 2 mana, 0/4, 3 to tap it, stun, tap a creature, stun it. If you do, stun with Sanctuary Wall. It's a good idea. I like it. It'll be good and limited, I'm sure, as a blocker. Curious Cadaver. 10th Hero District. 2 mana, collect evidence 2. Becomes a human. Detective base power 4/4 and has a vigilance. 3 mana, collect evidence 4. If it's a detective, it becomes a legendary creature named Maleva the Stalwart, 5/5. Other creatures indestructible. Okay, interesting. This is kind of going off that Evolved Sleeper style of card where we're paying to give it more abilities. I've always thought these are interesting. I'm going to bet you this is probably a card meant for standard, right? Than it is more than Commander. Scene of the Crime, new land that is also a clue. So that's kind of cool. Full art basic planes there. And we see Insidious Roots. Man, I love art cards. I know some people don't. Some people see them as being pretty worthless, but I've always liked them. I think they're cool. And they allow you to really continue to take advantage of just appreciating some of the art that's on these cards. Shock gets a reprint. Of course, pretty classic removal spell at common, dealing 2 damage. Suspicious Arrival. Case of the Gorgon's Kiss, another case here. I think the cases are interesting. Some decks are going to play them to good advantage. Other decks won't, you know, just like any other card. But I think they're cool for enchantment decks to have something to work towards. To me, they remind me a lot of the classes from Adventure of Forgotten Realms. And some of the fun that you can use those for. Here we go. Case of the Ransacked Lab. Instant sorceries cost 1 less to cast, so you get 3 mana for just that. You get 4 more on the turn you solve it, and whenever you cast an instant sorcery, draw a card. Not a bad card. I mean, there's better. I think there's better spell slinging payoffs, but some decks may care about that. Homicide Investigator, 2 mana. Whenever 1 or more non-token creatures you control die, investigate. Triggers only once each turn. I can't think of a deck off the top of my head that probably wants this right away, but I'm sure there's some deck out there that really cares about an ability like that. Runebrand Juggler in the foil there, a Plains, and then here's one of the punch-out token cards. Case Salt, Suspected, a new mechanic that you can suspect creatures. If you do, they gain menace and can't block. Poison, Case Salt, Suspected. Just a little punch-out card for all those new tokens in the set, or little counters and tokens in the set that you can take advantage of or states. Red Herring. Of course, gotta love some of the puns that they use in the set for different things. Unauthorized exit. Hard-hitting question. Caught red-handed, of course, another euphemism. Fugitive courier. All right, well, this is a card I was hoping we'd see. This is one of the ones I'm kind of intrigued to see how this card does. Archsteward's Charm, triple green. Choose one. Search your library for a creature or land and reveal it. Put it on the battlefield if it's a land. Otherwise, put it into your hand and shuffle. Put a counter on target creature you control. Deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Or exile target artifact or enchantment. I have a feeling this card will get a ton of play in Commander, just because anything that has a mode where all three modes are good, I think it's worth playing. No, this doesn't beat something like Worldly Tutor for getting a creature, but getting it right into your hand is pretty good instead of putting it on top, like with all of our other green tutors for creatures. The middle ability is effectively a fight spell. At instant speed, you're normally expecting that to be 2 mana, so not bad. You're not overpaying it by it very much. Third one, exile target artifact or enchantment. We have Beast Within that does this for 3 mana, but it's only destroying. You have things like Force of Vigor that does that for 4 mana, except it's destroying and it's 2. Nature's Claim at 1. So I like this, and it's going to work well in green because, of course, green's just going to make a ton of mana anyway. Jaded Analyst, a Plains, and then a Thopter token. 5 packs in, and I think the Archsteward's Charm is going to help us out on the cost of the bundle. It's one of those rares I expect to see a price hike because of it probably being well used in a lot of green decks. It's something I'm looking to put in the Stockton Goreclaw as a way to have removal or going to search for things or even removal. We get another Meticulous Archive, this time in the standard frame. I was hoping to see another one. Try to get 1 or 2, but there we go. That's the regular frame. Again, I love the art. I've always loved the art on lands, and these ones do not disappoint. I think they're all really pretty. Steam Core Scholar, 3 mana, Weird Detective, Flying Vigilance. When ETBs, draw 2, then discard 2 unless you discard an instant or sorcery or a creature with flying. Okay. I'm sure someone's going to use it to some degree. But we'll see what comes of that. Leering Onlooker. Okay, we get a special guest. Okay, Tragic Slip. Not the best of the special guests, but hey, we will take it. Of course, if you have yet to see special guests were introduced in Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and are cards that we can get in the regular sets that have a different symbol and are different. But are available inside the set. This set has 10 of them, Tragic Slip being one of them. I don't know. I would have rather probably gotten, looking at them, Field of the Dead would probably have been better, right? Or been cool. Traveler's Tracker got a cool reprint. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be playing that with the new clue support in this set. We see Fabricate, Ghostly Prison. I mean, there's a lot of cool cards. Crashing Footfalls for that modern reprint. Tragic Slip isn't a bad card, just probably not one that I was looking for. A Swamp. And then we see that taste of their deadly complication, taste of being murdered in the story. But okay, we won't turn down a special guest. That's pretty cool. It's cool to see them pulled. I'm trying to think, what did I get in my time of Ixalan? I think I pulled, the only special guest I pulled out of Ixalan was, I think was Windgrace was the only one I ended up pulling. But there was a lot of pretty ones in Ixalan as well. But just 10 around this time. And I believe all 10 of them are going on to Arena, if I recall correctly. If I don't, I guess yell at me in the comments, but that's my understanding. And if they're not, they will be there eventually. Lazav, Weaver of Faces. Lazav is back. Of course, rumored to be dead in the story, but here he is. Whenever he attacks, exile a card from a graveyard, then investigate. Whenever we sack a clue, we can have Lazav become target of a creature he, exiled with him until end of turn. Not a bad ability. Again, Lazav's creature cards have always had this. Copy something in a graveyard or something like that. So, I mean, it makes sense. I think his other ones are a little bit better, but I understand what they're doing with it. And hey, we get a card from the list. Quintorius Field Historian from Strixhaven. Buffing up spirits. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, you make a spirit token. Quintorius is an interesting character, right? I think my favorite of his cards, we just got an Ixalan. and Quintorius Canned. I like that card a lot. There's a lot of decks that care about casting things from exile. So, of course, it's pretty useful. But that's his first card we ever saw him on there in Strixhaven. Fanatical Strength there, and another one of our Magnify Frames. Killer Among Us, kind of an interesting card. Making a bunch of tokens. Agency Outfitter. Leyline of the Guild Pack. This is a card I was hoping to see, and this card pretty much single-handedly kind of made me want to go back to my Ghost Shintai list, a deck that cares about enchantments, shrines, and his 5 colors. And the main text that makes me care about it's the last one: lands you control every basic land type in addition to their other types. Going to make it a lot easier with a 5-color deck to get the colors you need. And of course, like any leyline, it could start on the battlefield if you have it in your opening hand. I like this card a lot, and I think it's going to be very well used in 5-color decks. Polygraph Orb, Plains, and I don't recognize that art. Macabre Reconstruction, pretty art there. All right, last pack Magic for a bundle. What are we going to see? I think we've done really well so far. I think Archdruid's Charm is going to be a card that's going to hold some good value. We got the Tragic Slip. Leyline of the Guild Pack was a card I was looking for, so I'm happy nonetheless so far. I think we've done pretty well. Topiary Panther, fun art there. I don't know. I've always liked cats in Magic, although it's not the best cat in the world. Thinking Cap. Of course, got to get those fun things there. Interestingly, we have yet to see any of the Clue Edition equipment that are in the set yet. Candlestick or anything like that. Burden of Proof. +2/+2 as long as it's a detective. Otherwise, it's base tower 1/1 and can't block detectives. Think about it. It's kind of a way to make something into a 1/1 for 2 mana, which is still good. There's a lot of cards that do that. Some of the players for 2 mana, you may look at the top card of your library at any time. Once per turn, you can cast a creature power 2 or less from the top of your library. Someone's going to be able to take advantage of this. I could see things like Teysa, who plays a lot of those creatures that have afterlife that die, I think, and give you spirits. I think almost all of them are power 2 or less, so I could see that being used in something like that. Repulsive Mutation, kind of a fun card for either +1/+1 counters deck or Simic decks in general, putting counters, then countering things. Planes, and then we see that's the Panoptic Projector, the Megamorph or Disguise card that makes things cheaper, and it's kind of a panharmonic kind of for that. But let me know, what did you guys think of our bundle down in the comment section below. This was a ton of fun to open. I wanted to open some of the set. Like I said, we've got some Ravnica Clue Edition coming. I've got that pre-ordered, and I'm ready to open that as well. We'll talk about some of the cards I'm excited for in that and open up our packs and see what we get. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time.